Ever feel like building a new app is like, I don't know, climbing Mount Everest barefoot in the snow?
Yeah, I get it. You've got these amazing ideas, but getting them off the ground, it's a process, that's for sure, and expensive.
Totally. And so much waiting around, which is why this whole Ellogy.ai thing caught my attention. AI that can, get this, revolutionize how we build apps faster, cheaper, and get this, why? Maybe even, dare I say it, fun.
Revolution is a word, that's for sure. But from what I'm seeing, Ellogy might actually be onto something here. This document makes some pretty big claims, though.
It does, right? Like turning simple descriptions into actual apps. Seamless transition from idea to, having something up and running.
Yeah.
Now, automated code generation, is that even, is that a real thing?
It's getting there. I mean, think about it. What if you could just tell Ellogy what you want your app to do, and it takes care of building, at least the basic framework?
Wait, are you saying goodbye to those late night coding marathons?
Maybe not entirely, but picture this. You say, okay, Ellogy, I want people to be able to create and share playlists, and boom, it starts laying down the code blocks for that. You're still the director, but AI is doing a lot of the grunt work.
That's wild. And time is money, right?
Yes.
Especially with apps where everything moves so fast.
Hmm.
But speaking of AI doing the work, how realistic is this whole automated code generation thing?
It's ambitious, I'll give them that, but the tech behind it, it's not science fiction anymore. AI can understand and even generate increasingly complex code from just, plain English descriptions.
So instead of wrestling with code, I'm having a conversation.
Pretty much. Of course, there are limits. AI is not writing symphonies yet. For now, it's more like a crazy good assistant. But you still need human oversight, especially for anything super complex.
Okay, a super-powered assistant. I
Yeah.
can work with that. But one thing that really jumped out at me was this idea of going straight from idea to actually having a working app.
Yeah.
Does Ellogy really deliver on that seamless transition promise?
That's the goal. And if they can pull it off, it's huge. Think about all those roadblocks in a typical app development project, gathering requirements, turning those into tech specs, going back and forth with developers. It eats up time and money. If Ellogy can streamline that, even just part of it, that's a game changer.
Speed is key. But, and call me old-fashioned here, I'd rather have an app that works than an app that's rushed out the door and crashes every 5 seconds. How does Ellogy make sure the quality's there?
And that's where things get really interesting. Ellogy's secret weapon, multi-agent AI. Think of it like having a whole team of specialist AIs all working together on your app.
Multi-agent AI. Okay, now we're getting into sci-fi territory.
Not quite the Matrix, but close. So picture this. Instead of one AI trying to do it all, you've got specialized agents. One's a coding whiz, another one's all about design, and there's even one that's basically a project management guru.
Okay. So how does that actually play out? I mean, what does that mean for the app itself?
Imagine you're building, say, a fitness tracker. You could have one AI agent that's totally focused on making the interface super user-friendly, intuitive. And meanwhile, another one's working behind the scenes, optimizing the code to make sure it runs smoothly, even on older phones.
It's like having a team of invisible experts all fine-tuning different parts of the app.
Exactly. And here's the really cool part. Because these agents are always learning, your app can actually get better over time based on how people are using it.
That's amazing. So Ellogy's really harnessing all that multi-agent power, huh? Color me impressed. But how does it actually work in practice? How do these AI agents communicate and collaborate?
Well, that's where Ellogy's use of conversational AI comes in. And honestly, this might be the most radical part of their whole approach. You know how you're trying to explain what you want your app to do, and it feels like you're speaking another language?
Oh, tell me about it. It's am I supposed to be fluent in JavaScript now?
Right. Well, Ellogy wants to change all that. Their whole thing is you just have a conversation. You tell Ellogy what you want, like you're talking to, I don't know, a colleague.
Okay, so I can finally retire my developer dictionary. But how does it actually work? Am I literally talking to my laptop now?
Basically, yeah. But imagine you're describing your app idea, features you want, how it should work, even the overall vibe, all in plain English.
So no more pretending to understand what an API, even IS.
Exactly. And here's the really cool part. As you're talking, Ellogy's AI, it can ask you questions, it's thinking along with you. Oh, so you want people to be able to share playlists. Okay, should they be public or private? What about searching by mood or genre? That kind of thing.
So it's like a brainstorming partner who actually gets it.
Exactly. And by making this whole requirements gathering process more natural, more, well, fun, honestly, Ellogy's trying to fix a really big problem in app development.
Preach. That's painful. But does it actually,
Yeah.
you know, lead to better apps?
Think about the alternative. Those massive requirements documents, nobody wants to read those, let alone write them.
Well,
Which leads to, well, misunderstandings, things getting missed. And in the end, you might end up with an app that's not quite what you had in mind.
been there. It's like reading a textbook, a really boring textbook that no one understands.
And that's where this conversational AI comes in. You're having this back and forth with the system. So you uncover those aha moments earlier, you work through the kinks, and hopefully you end up with an app that's, actually good.
Okay, I'm sold on the conversational AI thing. It's like therapy, but for app development.
Yeah.
But let's step back for a second. Look at the big picture. Ellogy's making some big claims. Do you really think they're onto something here?
I gotta say, there's a lot to be excited about. Multi-agent AI, this conversational interface. It's genuinely new. It could really shake things up. Imagine a world where building an app is as easy as, I don't know, ordering a pizza.
A world where anyone with a good idea, even if they don't know how to code, could actually make that idea a reality. Okay, now I'm really interested.
Right, but, and there's always a but, it's still early days. We have to see how all this actually works in the real world,
So don't quit your day job just yet, but
Yeah.
keep an eye on Ellogy.
Exactly. And as much as I like what I'm seeing, this document, it leaves some questions unanswered.
Like what has you scratching your head?
Well, for one, they don't really get into the nitty-gritty of how these AI agents learn. What data are they trained on? Could there be bias, especially in the design side, or recommending features? That's something to consider.
Yeah, good point. The last thing we need is AI building apps that are only designed for one type of person.
Right. And then there's the question of scale. They say Ellogy can handle everything from, a simple to-do list app to a full-blown e-commerce platform. But how well does it really work when things get super complex?
It's like that saying, right? Just because you can make a good omelet doesn't mean you can run a restaurant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, even if Ellogy can automate a lot of the process, we're still going to need humans for the creative stuff, the problem solving, those things that AI, at least for now, can't quite handle.
So it's more about AI and humans, teaming up rather than one replacing the other.
100%. It's like giving developers a whole new set of superpowers, automating the boring stuff so they can focus on, the stuff that actually matters.
Now that's a future I can get behind. But let's talk to our listeners for a sec. They're probably wondering, should they drop everything and switch to Ellogy right now?
I mean, what we've seen so far, it's seriously cool stuff. But it's still new. It's like seeing a movie trailer, right? It looks amazing, but you haven't actually seen the whole thing. We need more info.
So a little healthy skepticism is a good thing.
Always. This document, it doesn't tell us everything. We need to see how they handle data security, bias, all the important stuff.
It's like going on a date.
Yeah.
Looks good online, but
You got to see how they handle a stressful situation. Exactly. But even with all that said, I'm optimistic. Ellogy is doing some really interesting stuff. And hey, if nothing else, it's getting people thinking, pushing the boundaries.
and that's what it's all about. So to everyone listening, keep an open mind. And who knows, maybe AI will be your new best friend when it comes to building your dream app. For now, we'll keep you posted on Ellogy and everything happening in this wild world of AI-powered development. Until next time.
So where does that leave, actual human developers? If everyone's using AI to build apps, are coding skills going to be, obsolete?
That's the million-dollar question, right? But honestly, I don't think so. I think it's more like the job's going to change, but we're always going to need people who really understand this stuff.
So not replacing humans, but
Yeah.
augmenting. Exactly. Think of it this way. Someone still has to build the AI, right? Make sure it's working the way it should. And there are always going to be those really complex problems that you need a human brain for.
So more like AI tools in a human's toolbox.
Exactly. And those tools, they can handle a lot of the tedious parts, freeing us up to focus on the more, creative stuff, the strategic thinking.
I like the sound of that. But let's bring it back to our listeners. What's the takeaway here? Should they be, ditching their current projects and going all in on Ellogy?
Honestly, it's really promising. All this
Yeah.
stuff, the multi-agent AI, the conversational interface, it's exciting.
Yeah.
But it's still early days. We need to see it in action,
So we'll wait and see for now.
Exactly. Think of this document as a proof of concept. There are still questions. How do they handle data privacy, security? things like that.
Okay, so maybe not a full-blown commitment yet, but
Definitely keep an eye on them. This is the kind of tech that could change, well, everything.
this only got us thinking, and that's what we love to see. So to everyone listening, keep exploring, keep innovating, and hey, maybe AI will be a part of your next big success story. We'll be back soon to break down more of the latest developments in the world of AI. Until then, happy building.